Welcome back to the 1009 podcast. Another great weekend of college football and NFL. MLB postseason has started. Shout out to the Mets for already being eliminated. That lasted very long. Uh, round two has begun. Well, round two. The divisional series has begun today. So a lot to talk about from a busy weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming off a big weekend of football, and then we've got postseason baseball. We got NHL starting as we speak. We got NBA coming back next week, so it's a good time to be a sports fan.
Yep. And speaking of NHL, I've gone full blown into it. I drafted a beginners league, thinking I could add a second manager. Couldn't, so I'm currently doing another one, which who cares? But we're just gonna get into it this year. So I ain't got nothing better to do, keeping up my degenerateness. So two fantasy hockey league teams, trying to get Grayson to be my second manager. So we're gonna win the cup.
I'll see what I think based on your draft, but yeah, I'm down.
So, yep. So that's enough hockey talk for right now. We'll wait until the Canes start getting going. I know Jacob is a big hockey fan too, so.
Oh yeah, of course.
We'll be sure to get dabble in it, but I mean the main two things right now, obviously college football, NFL. So, well, three postseason. There's just a lot.
I mean, yeah, we saw it Saturday. I think the craziness is going to continue throughout each sport. We had it in college football, thankfully. Didn't affect Clemson, but Alabama about messed around and lost.
Yeah, I really don't think there's a really true number one. I mean, I guess I don't think Georgia's the greatest team ever. I don't think Alabama's the greatest team ever. I mean, you got it on here. I agree. I think Ohio State probably should be the number one team in the country.
It's not really for being all that impressive against weaker competition. I know Michigan State was one you circle in August, but they just looked terrible. It's just they've looked the least bad week to week recently. I mean, I know Bama was out without Bryce Young, and that certainly puts an asterisk next to that final score. But, I mean, you give them credit for surviving, but also if you're surviving, can you really be number one right now? I think the answer is no. And Georgia really pulled away against Auburn. That game was a lot closer earlier than you would have thought. We saw a game-winning drive inside 5 minutes at Mizzou, and they come home, and it takes two-ish quarters to get rolling against an Auburn team that just dismissed their coach. Or have they? They haven't fired him yet, have they?
Okay. No, I don't think anything really came out of that meeting that they were supposed to have yesterday.
Right. Yeah, he will be the next one fired. But, yeah, I mean, so I think based on that, Ohio State has to be number one, but, the AP poll incorporates a lot of things, and logic really isn't one of them. So we don't have the Buckeyes on top at this point.
Yeah, there's so many just weird polls from this weekend. I mean, we're going to probably find out how good Alabama is and how good Tennessee is this weekend. The two will face off up in Rocky Top, number 6 versus number 3. So definitely going to find out who's a contender and who's a pretender. So that's one to look forward to for this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's game day again in Knoxville, but it should be for this one especially. I mean, after Florida's opening win, I get them going there as well. So, you don't love to have game day in the same spot twice in 6 weeks, but I think the game's warranted. I will say that if Bryce Young does not go in this game or is a shell of himself, I hate it for Vols fans and the start they've had, but that's not the typical Bama win under your cap. It's, if you're beating a backup, it is what it is. We've seen that. They got it done against Pitt in a similar situation. The injury did happen mid-game, though, rather than
pre-game or before the game. Yeah.
Right. Hopefully Bryce Young plays. These are two teams that off to great starts, unblemished. And, I mean, I think for Tennessee, the more important game is Georgia.
Yeah.
Because the path to Atlanta runs through Georgia, which will be played in Athens this year. And if they don't get to Atlanta, they will not be getting to the playoff. So this one obviously haven't won in 15, 16 years. The games are hardly ever close. They get destroyed every year, regardless of hype. I know back in 2016, it's probably the closest hype to this we've had, and they got smoked, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So, big weekend for them.
Yeah, and I mean, we could possibly see Alabama and Tennessee play twice this year, because I don't see an SEC West team beating Alabama. I mean, probably the most competitive game they have left is Mississippi State.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be a big one.
So I could very much see that rematch of the two later on here, and if obviously Tennessee takes out Georgia later this season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna still stand by what I take a couple weeks ago. I think it's the most cut and dry conference championship matchup we have in this country. Still, I mean, you could say Clemson now in the Atlantic half of the ACC, but with the Coastal week in week out, you have no idea who's good. So I think it's still Georgia. It would take Tennessee winning in Athens to disrupt that.
Yeah.
I just don't see either one of those two teams slipping up to that extent.
Yeah, you mentioned the Coastal. I know we're gonna dabble in it later on, but speaking of standings, Georgia Tech's currently I think it's Georgia Tech and UNC are tied for first or something something stupid. And Georgia Tech
2-0 without their coach. Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, they fired him before conference play, I think. Well, no, they got one loss to us. I forgot about that.
Right.
So
yeah,
I think UNC's one ahead. So, but either way, I mean, Georgia Tech's right there after firing their coach. So, but we'll get
right. I don't think that's not going to sustain. I don't think as good as I think Jeff Sims is, but yeah.
Remember we touched on it earlier, talking about the top 5 and all that. Clemson finally jumped over Michigan, which I think it's not biased, but it's rightfully so. Michigan hasn't played anybody. They struggled against Maryland, struggled against Iowa. I mean, yeah, who they beat this weekend? Indiana.
One
One of those I teams. Yeah,
at halftime, I think. Yeah.
So I mean, I just haven't seen much out of them. And then I think one of their quarterbacks, I forget which one they start, was hurt or something like that. Yeah. Or they're
I didn't catch much
it.
of their game. Obviously wasn't one of the big ones on the slate, so I wasn't too focused on it. I did keep an eye on the ticker, and I did see 10-10 at halftime. I was stunned by that. So they've got Blake Corum, I think a dark horse, maybe Heisman candidate running back. He puts up a lot of numbers, but like you said, the schedule is not putting him in that conversation yet. Similar to, I think, some Hendon Hooker buzz is going to be reserved for these Bama and Georgia type matchups, these huge games. Beating Florida, beating LSU, those are good wins, but you're not going to go to New York beating 4 or 5 loss teams.
Yeah.
Alabama is certainly several steps above that group, even without Bryce Young. So I think Hendon Hooker to New York, that campaign really gets kicked off this weekend.
I mean, granted, it's already been kicked off, granted by the ugly orange crew, but I mean, our orange, I mean, you can't not talk about DJ in the Heisman. Like, he's done nothing to not be in it. I mean, he threw a pick this weekend, but still, that's one of his second of the year. So considering what he did last year when he had more picks than touchdowns, so.
Yeah, I think fair or not, people are going to judge his 2022 in addition to 2021. I don't know if he gets there. Now, if we run the table and we impress and, he keeps up the pace he put up against the 2 top 15 wins we have recently, then yeah, absolutely. But, toughest game left on the schedule is probably this weekend. Going to Florida State, a team that was ranked and has lost back-to-back games in their first 2 true tests, honestly. So,
yeah,
not a lot of resume builders for DJ, unfortunately. I think our last 3 games are at home. We got Miami in there, that's not a game you're terrified of anymore, especially at home. And then we end with the 8 bomb, so that's not going to be one to hang your hat on either. So,
yeah, and I think I've started to kind of get a vibe of how our offense is going to be. Probably just going to be under Streeter. We're not going to be a spread you out, throw the ball all over the field, also able to swing it out we're just going to be a ground and pound, pick you apart over the middle, to the sides, take a deep shot every now and then. So, I mean, we're definitely not the same offense that we've been for the past 10 years.
No,
and that's taking fans a lot to get used to. And I don't think many fans are ever going to get used to, especially if they just started following us in the past 5-6 years. So,
yeah, I mean, we've got, I think, a larger strength on the ground than we do through the air, just with the skill talent we have. And that's not to say that receivers aren't good. It's just that's how effective DJ's been on the ground. That's how good Will Shipley's been, Moffa, Kobe Pace when he's healthy. I mean, you just go down the list.
And a healthy DJ running, it shows how much better our offense can be. Granted, we know last year he had knee issues and he was 30 pounds heavier than this year.
Right.
So he's impressed me this year. So that's all. I mean, that's all we can really else say about it. That he's just impressed everybody. He's gone out and showed that he was worth the 5 stars. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. So Clemson back number 4, Michigan 5, rightfully so. Let's hold on to it. Hopefully.
Yeah. Tallahassee's never fun, but I think they've shown their true direction the last 2 weeks, and hopefully we give them a 3rd straight loss this weekend.
Yeah. And Vegas is showing that they think Tallahassee is going to be a raucous environment because it opened up as what 7-point spread.
It was 6.5, yeah.
And then it's now down to 3.5. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't know if the people that are putting the money down that affected to that extent are looking at our defensive depth chart and the names that are back on that list. But good luck with that, is all I say.
It's safe to say, me and Grayson, we hit it yesterday for that. So, we saw it at 3.5 and said thank you very much, and let's go win the ball game. So.
Yeah, I think Jordan Travis is talented, but if we put up 17 points on offense, we should cover that. I'll just leave that there.
I second that notion. So,
yeah.
Elsewhere, I mean, we touched on it. Tennessee, that's 3 top 25 wins, even though 2 of them are already out of the top 25.
I mean, LSU was 25, and I swear they were put there for the last weekend.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
That's just.
That's like that was the most. Hey, let's get them another AP win vote ever.
I realize their best win is Mississippi State, and that's a good one as well as that team's looking. But if you actually watch that game, they got outplayed for 3 quarters. I mean, it wasn't something like we saw from Tennessee Saturday where the opening play of the game, a mistake, they capitalize on it and they just roll from there. I mean, I get it. Tennessee's got the hype train. They need the statistics like that. I mean, we've got 2 top 15 wins, so I'm still on the train of resume-wise. I think we have the best in the country to that extent. I mean, they had a Pitt team, another ranked team, but, they lost Slovis. They did have to gut that out in overtime, which, ugly wins still count, especially in the SEC, where we're going to pretend like Pitt is some incredible team that had Georgia Tech come to them and embarrass them without a head coach. So, like I've been saying, Tennessee's the real impressive data points in their schedule are in front of them, not behind them, and that starts this weekekend. So, they'll have the opportunity to prove it with the best team in the East and the best team in the West still to come. Another team 6-0, and you definitely wouldn't have had that preseason. UCLA.
Yeah,
they're 6-0 now.
I didn't think they were 6-0 because of the way they played against South Alabama and the way their fans just haven't showed up. I figured they have a crowd for a 0-6 team. I just didn't realize they were 6-0 until this week. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, we were unanimous in the Slate Show on Utah, and I think for a lot of reasons you just mentioned, there's no hype, no real excitement in that program. The fan presence is, bad at best, and here they are. And the Pac-12 is now down to 3 playoff bids with Utah picking up the second loss, and that's Southern Cal and Oregon, 2 teams very much in that conversation a month ago. And then UCLA sitting there unbeaten. So, I don't know if anyone outside of the Trojans would get in. I don't think UCLA runs the table. It's just what they'd have to do, honestly. And then Oregon, with the blowout loss to Georgia, has to be perfect down the stretch anyway. So I think it's Trojans or bust still. But technically, if you want to look at who's got less than 2 losses at the moment, it's that trifecta at the top of the Pac-12.
Yeah. And DTR is looking like what people thought he was going to be coming out of the Elite 11 and all that. So I think, Chip Kelly, he's just a quarterback. He's a quarterback guru. He knows how to work with them. So
yeah, it took a while for him to get traction at that program. We've had a lot of unimpressive seasons from him. But, if this is a stepping stone towards more of the norm, it's about to really heat up out in California with USC being back and those 2 programs moving to the Big Ten somehow. But, so the time was now for Chip Kelly, unless they were going to hit reset as they entered the Big Ten and tried to really breathe some life back in the program. And I think that the 6-0 start means that he might be there to stay.
Yeah. And speaking of quarterbacks, news just broke earlier today that Jalen Daniels of the Kansas Jayhawks is unfortunately out for the season. Got hurt in that TCU game. But their backup came in and threw 4 touchdowns against TCU. But you just hate to see that with all the momentum that they had. It's just a gut punch, really.
Yeah, you mentioned Jason being the backup, came in 262, 4 TDs in relief, and they still had every chance in the world to win that game. So I think credit to them in that QB room. I will say Daniels did quote tweet one of the announcements and said it's news to him.
Oh, I
which
did
is
not see that.
probably
Oh,
optimism. I saw it maybe 20 minutes ago, but I want that to be true, but somehow I doubt it just with the way that injury looked, and shoulders are very, very tricky as far as rehab. So,
and especially for a quarterback. I mean, it's so far. I feel like it's been the season of shoulder injuries.
yeah,
Yours,
another one, yeah, Leary, and we saw NC State climb back thanks to Mike Norvell being an idiot. Honestly, I don't know if you saw that, but in field goal range, they're throwing fades to the end zone. It's short and it gets picked off by a DB playing center field, basically. So
a bit of miscommunication, wrong route, wrong throw. So, but still, I mean, that's just no trust in your kicker whatsoever.
No, I mean that's the school of the Aguayos came through, so it's hard to imagine a scenario like that. But
forgot both of them went there.
Yeah, they were up 17-3 at halftime. I think Leary left in the third quarter. NC State found a way to win after a pretty disappointing loss for them to us in the Valley last weekend. So they're staying alive in the Atlantic for now. But
it was good to see them win, but bad to see them win because I wanted Florida State to have 2 losses, not 3.
Right.
But just another. I mean, it's a win for a team that we beat. So better the record they got. Like, it'll all even out at some point, but it was just
right. So we won't get a third rank win, at least not yet. But at the same time, one of our previous wins has shown the ability to get back off the mat. So it's give and take there for sure. There was not give and take in the Red River murder because Quinn Ewers and the Horns beat our dear friend Brent Venables 49-0 in one of the more embarrassing scores in the history of that rivalry, honestly.
Is Texas a top 10 team with yours?
Yes.
I mean,
if Ole Miss is in there and Kentucky was in there, then absolutely they are.
Yeah, because, I mean, they went toe-to-toe with Alabama without yours, one. If Quinn was playing that game the whole time, that could have been a very different outcome. They very
would
well
not have lost to Texas Tech. I guarantee you that.
And this is where, if this was a season, when is the 12 team? Next year or 20?
I don't know.
Not for a while.
You're absolutely right. They would definitely be more than alive. But
I feel like this would be a good year for that, because there's so much craziness going on with every week. Like, this would actually be one of the best years to have a 12-team playoff because there's no definitive number 1 through 4, and would definitely be interesting. But yeah, that was just a straight shellacking of the Sooners. You hate to see it for Brent, but I mean, we talked about it. They're still Lincoln's guys, and he's not running the defense. I know he has say in it, and he probably definitely puts a lot of input into it, but you just hate to see his defense going through that.
Right. I mean, it's the era of the short leash in the coaching world and all that, but like you said, he's 0 recruiting classes in. So, I mean, I don't think you can really fairly judge him on anything but trying to get more out of the defensive players than was had in the past, where they go to the playoff and they lose. What I think it was LSU put 49 on them and a half. I mean, just if you think embarrassing defensive performances are new from this program, then you have not watched the playoff semifinals, because they've been there 4 or 5 times and they get embarrassed. So, I mean, you hate to see it in a rivalry game. You hate to see it coming off 2 losses already. I think they haven't lost 3 straight since 1998. So, I mean, this is uncharted territory for them. I think it's been a long time.
No, it was 3 straight, right? It was what? Okay.
It was Kansas State and then TCU and then Texas this past weekend. But, I think he'll be fine long term. The question is, will there be enough patience for that to actually develop? And we just talked about Chip Kelly. I mean, how long has he been there? 5-6 years, and that program means nothing nationally. And all of a sudden, with a 7th-year QB and DTR, they're 6-0. So
the thing with Chip Kelly is he has the resume. He's shown the success at Oregon. He's shown success in the pros ish, kinda.
He was better at Oregon.
Yeah. I mean, the bunch of these coaches that have gotten fired here recently, I mean, Jeff Collins, what did he do before he got there? I mean, Scott Frost, he had 1 good year at UCF. Paul Chris is Paul Chris. So I think Oklahoma knows what they have in Venables. It's just he's got to get the right guys.
Yeah, and that fan base is more focused on Southern Cal than they are Oklahoma half the time anyway.
Yeah,
So I think that hopefully that leads to patience, if nothing else, and they let him actually turn that program around.
Yeah, I agree. Dabbing back into some ACC. How about that Pitt running back? Oh my God!
Yeah, that is NCAA 23 is not out yet, but if you want to look like what that game will be without the sliders turned up past anything, then you go back and watch that tape because 36 carries, 320 yards, and 6 TDs. I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I know.
At one point, he had what, like 6 carries for 100-something yards or something like that.
It was something like Randy Moss in that one game type embarrassing. I know Brent Pry's off to a very, very, very rough start in Blacksburg. But, I mean, that's embarrassing. This Pitt team lost to Georgia Tech at home last week, which I don't think helped Virginia Tech because, Pitt is one of, if not the best team in the Coastal. And they lose in embarrassing fashion like that at home as a ranked team. And then you turn around and you get a much, honestly, not even easier opponent because Virginia Tech's better than Georgia Tech, I think, as much as they struggled.
Yeah.
And they just murdered them. I mean, that was.
Is Georgia Tech bad, though? That's the thing. I mean, we mentioned earlier, they beat Duke, who was 4-0 at one point. So, or 3-0, 4-0. One of the two. I don't know.
They've beaten two of the better Coastal teams back-to-back weeks.
My weeks have been rolling together.
Yeah.
UNC won a thriller in Miami. That was a big win for UNC.
They tried to lose so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think their defense. Well, no, I think what's his face had 500 passing yards or something like that.
Yeah, Van Dyke and Drake May were dueling through the air all night.
Drake May's going to be better than Sam Howell.
He probably already is, honestly.
I would second that.
I mean, I know Josh Downs helps a lot, and they've, Howell had the dynamic duo running back with Javonte Williams and Michael Carter. But I mean, this Josh Downs kid is special. I think he is draft eligible, so we might not see that continuity past the season. But if he comes back next year, look out.
Yeah,
that could be Addison all over again.
Yeah, Drake May will definitely get some Heisman talk in the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't think they're going to be relevant enough nationally to really get him in that picture.
I mean, if he's doing what he did now and then improves like on that next year, I don't see how he can't be a preseason top 5, top 10.
Yeah, I think next year he's in that. Yeah.
I'm definitely not talking this year. I'm talking next year or two. So
if they fire Gene Chizik in the offseason and hire somebody to run the defense that knows what the hell they're doing and can keep them competitive, then yeah, absolutely. I think that's very, very fair for him.
Yeah. You got anything else on college football?
I mean, we touched on Clemson. They went to BC. That game, not the most lopsided score-wise. It is result-wise, but
we covered. Good teams cover.
Slow first half. Second half, we turned it on again. We lead the country in second half scoring at 23.6 points a game, which a stat that I had to double check because I saw on Twitter and didn't believe it. So, that's not a model I really want to replicate week in, week out, but it's nice to know that if we do start out slowly on offense, we are able to flip the script at halftime with some adjustments and help that defense out.
Yeah, and our front seven's it's stupid. Like
and now they're healthy. Like
the talent they got. We saw Xavier Thomas finally was able to make his debut on the season. He had 6 snaps, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, a forced fumble. Like
he should have had 3 sacks. Yeah.
Yeah, when he's healthy, he's a freak. Like, and we've seen it for 4 or 5 years now, or whatever, however long he's been there.
Yeah.
When he's able to get a full head of steam and be able to get off the edge, it's a freight train. So.
Yeah, I mean, KJ Henry both coming back were huge for the defense. I mean, they're already talented enough as far as Saturdays and Sundays go, but having those two back, unfortunately, I think Xavier, he had a Jones fracture in his foot in camp, and he was coming back from that, and it was a pretty frustrating process. But he's back.
Luckily, it wasn't a season ending because we've seen that plenty of times. I think Justin Ross and Travis both had.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, feet can be very, very frustrating because there's not a whole lot you can do, and it's just a lot of rehab and patience. But
big foot guy. Big foot guy. Grayson, you got a foot fetish?
No.
Onlyfeet.com.
Healthy football players.
Yeah. We did skip over Notre Dame beating BYU out in Vegas. I think they showed out.
I'm telling you, that November 5th date is getting a lot more interesting.
Yes, and I have a wedding that day, so kill me.
I'll actually be there, so
Oops.
yeah, I'll keep us updated.
Yeah, I bet they'll rank. They'll probably rank them before then, just to give us another ranked win.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus Freeman gets ordained, and they haven't lost since. So I mean, I don't know whether that has any impact on it, but something's changed with this team. An embarrassing start, but a very productive last 3 weeks now, 3 wins in a row. So
Yeah.
like I said, they're not going to the playoff. They're not in a conference, so they have no forecast for that. But as far
Just
as
get to a bowl game.
Clemson heading there, I'm telling you, that's not one we need to walk over.
It's definitely not the same hype as 2 years ago, but it's
right. Yeah.
It's still, like you said, one you don't want to look over.
No, because it could turn into a game just like 2020. So.
Yep, I agree. So. I think that about covers all the main talking points for college. I can't really think of much of anything else. I mean, there's the debacle of if game day was actually going to Knoxville, but I think that was just all hearsay.
I think there was a portion of the video to announce it that was DMCA'd, and then people turned it into, oh my God, is Lee Corso okay? Which thankfully was misguided. Corso fine, game day, headed to Knoxville with Lee, I believe, this week in action. So
yeah. Was he there last week? I didn't get to watch.
I don't think he was.
I don't remember.
But
I didn't keep up with too much last week, so.
Right. No, I was in and out, but no, I didn't see a headgear, so I don't think he was. But hopefully this week he will be back. So
I agree.
Yeah, but that's college, NFL. We're gonna lead off with people who will not be back, and that is Matt Rhule, the Panthers.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, take it away.
That dumb, can't trust a fart-looking face, mush of a brain head coach is gone. And we've got rid of the D coordinator. I think the special teams coordinator's gone too. It's a full clean house. I mean, it's going to be a full rebuild, which is not going to be fun. But the source of most of the problems is gone. So I saw people already tweeting about what players should be available for trades and stuff like that. I'm like, none. Like, we got the players here. We just got to have the right coaches. We got to keep Icky. Icky's finally turning it around. He had one of the best performances from this past weekend. McCaffrey's still McCaffrey. We got Chin on defense. Deontay Jackson has capabilities. Crap, I'm blanking on his name. I see his face. The kid from South Carolina, the cornerback.
J.C. Horn.
J.C. Horn is a stud. Brian Burns, like Frank Luke. Like, we got the guys. We just got to have the right coaches with the right system. To be 8-8.
Well, that's improvement lately. So, yeah. I do have one question. Ben McAdoo remains. Where are you at on that? I was stunned to see him not the first name out the door.
What worries me about that is I don't know if Tepper is going to slide him into that head coaching position. I guess
that's exactly what I was. Yeah.
I mean, if Wilkes performs and like wins a couple games, I mean, I could see him maybe. There's one guy, I forgot his name. I heard a podcast talking about him the other day. He got a cool name. It was on Part of My Take. He's a D coordinator, I think. It will come to me at some point, but I have no clue who's going to be the next coach. I don't like the idea that it can be McAdoo, but we shall see. We messed this up more times than not, so I'm ready for disappointment again.
I don't think internal is the answer. Wilkes being the interim guy, I don't think him shedding that tag or giving it to McAdoo is the right answer. So I think a true coaching search is in order, and I wouldn't pull from college again. There's too many just absolutely talented guys, coordinators, position coaches. I mean, Brian Daboll, OC to, what are they, 4-1 now up in? Yeah, so with the Giants. I mean, it's.
Do you think we'll ever see another college coach come to the NFL?
Yes, but I think that's going to slow to a trickle with how it's gone lately.
It might be one in 5 years. Yeah.
I mean, Rhule was as bad on the field as Urban was off the field. So
Kingsbury is kind of Cliff Kingsbury.
He's getting there.
Yeah.
You're seeing his name higher and higher on these next coaches that go betting boards, which I mean, obviously don't mean much. But
if you play the Panthers every week, you'll be fine.
Well, yeah. That NFC West tour is just brutal. But I mean, as far as the trade thing goes, I wouldn't truly blow it up yet anyway. I mean, if you're going to trade CMC, what happened already?
Yeah.
Defense, like young talent you rattle off, that's there to stay. I will say Robbie Anderson is a guy I could see getting shipped out.
Yeah.
I think
Robbie
that's
Anderson,
the most likely one.
Because he was a Matt Rhule guy. Matt Rhule literally pretty much brought him in.
Right. I mean, Packers, Chargers, there's a couple teams that could use the downfield threat like that, and you guys don't need him in the immediate future just because what you guys are going to have to do rebuilding wise. So,
yeah. I don't see how much we could. Because NFL, it's just trading picks, really. Isn't that
they
what?
have to eat salary. They've said they're willing to, apparently. So, who knows?
So, like, I mean, we're going to trade for picks for guys that we're not going to be able to play all that great in the next 2 or 3 years. So, why not just keep the guys we got? We're still going to have high draft picks. Draft smarter this time instead of taking 8 guys on defense in one draft.
Right. I mean, yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm just glad one name. Yeah, I don't think there's a massive sell off to be had, but I do think that if there is one guy I had to pick one, it'd probably be Anderson.
Yeah, which I wouldn't be opposed. He thought that our mascot was a bear, so
right. Yeah.
There's that.
Yeah, more people that should be fired is whoever decided to put the Broncos on prime time. What is this, 5 times now in 7 weeks?
How are people just not betting their either team under or just the under for every game?
I don't know. That team is god awful. I don't know if it's on the field with Russ and now Javonte Williams out for the year, so it's Melvin Gordon and Mike Boone at running back. They've got receiver talent. They've got Hamler, Judy, Sutton. I mean, the pieces are there, and it starts at the top with Hackett, who just sucks. I don't know how else to say it. No wonder Rodgers almost retired. Are you kidding me?
He's terrible. Like, there's no way. Putting past it. Yeah.
No wonder Devontae Adams got the hell out of town. Are you kidding me?
Sure.
I mean, that's
he might be
following the trail there. I mean, that's how can we be shocked? I mean, it's just I don't understand how it happens.
Yeah.
I think guys need time to figure it out. But Hackett is proven, and again, it happens in prime time, so everyone sees it. For as long as they can bear these god awful games they keep getting into.
Well, also, I guess to defend Hackett a little bit, Russell Wilson looks like he's absolutely brain dead out there.
Yeah, I mean he had a lat injury.
Yeah.
I mean that might be one of those like forearm strain things with pitchers that are doing bad. Who knows? But
yeah. But I mean, that decision not to hit Hamler right over the middle when he's wide open.
That's horrible.
It's
definitely not all on Hackett. But I'll tell you who's going to leave first between Hackett and Russell Wilson. It's going to be Hackett.
One has a 5-year, much money deal, and the other is a just hired head coach. So, you tell me.
Exactly. I'll tell you who Elway wants to get rid of first too. It's not the quarterback. I can guarantee you. As much as they've butchered that decision process. I mean, I thought Drew Lock was the answer, and he wasn't. But I also thought Mason Rudolph was, which is why I'm not a GM. So,
that's true.
That team, their last 2 primetime games, what was it, 11-10 and 9-6, and now they get the Chargers on Monday night. And I said we lose the Browns. We tried everything we could to lose the Browns. Thankfully, Cade York finally missed 2 kicks in his career because either one of those goes in and we lose. So, big division game for us. I hope we win. I'm not super confident. Maybe we get Keenan Allen back then. Maybe, but
indeed, Mike Dubb's going off.
He is, yeah.
I mean, granted, because him and Eckler are the only 2 options right now for the Chargers. Yeah. Pretty much.
You got Palmer, Gerald Everett, DeAndre Carter, but those aren't names you're adding on your fantasy teams. Well, maybe Everett, but
I've seen the past couple of weeks. I've seen Eckler with 30+ points, Mike Williams with 15, 20+ points. So they're doing the damn thing. Them 2 are.
Yeah, Eckler struggled through 2 games. He's turned it on. I think he has 5 TDs the last 3 games. So I mean, it's coming in bunches for him for sure.
Kind of the same thing with Derrick Henry.
Right. Yeah.
Which my brother traded after the second week. That's bold. You heard that right.
Yeah, you don't win a league in week 2. You can lose it though.
He traded him to a guy who already had Eckler.
Oh, so he's never going to lose again. That's great.
Yeah. That's my damn cousin that talks all the talk and doesn't shut up.
Yeah, Godspeed with that. Yeah. You're praying for bye weeks at that point. But, I mean, I mentioned it at Chargers. They tried to charge her. I mean, Anthony Lynn team loses that game, but Anthony Lynn wouldn't go for 4th and 2 and throw the damn ball with 2 minutes left from their own 46. So I can't really slander previous coach too much. I thought I was getting trolled. I was driving back and I missed the game, or the end of the game. And I thought surely they're joking about throwing the ball on 4th and 2 with Austin Eckler. I don't know what to think about this team. They're not bad, but they're not a contending team.
Yeah, not what you thought they were going to be coming into the
Yeah,
season.
I put them right about where the Ravens are at, honestly. And we
Do you
can get to
think?
that game later on, but I mean,
Do you think wild card?
oh yeah, no. If we're not a playoff team this year, I realize Bosa's out for an extended period of time. We don't have Slater, things like that, but I don't care. That's
Still,
2 key guys, but we have like 6, 7 top 100 guys in the NFL. So I mean,
still a bust of a season. If he's
yeah, I think if we miss the playoffs, we're going to see heads roll, and I hope it's not Staley, but I mean, this is Justin Herbert on a rookie deal. You cannot be 9-8 every year because once he gets paid, all these star players we keep bringing in are going to go elsewhere for more money. We saw it in Seattle. They capitalized on it, won a ring with Russ in year 3, and the defense all came up for paychecks and they left. So I mean, it's cyclical, it's inevitable, and we have to win now. So yeah, wild card is the floor. Honestly, I think that's what it was pretty much coming into the season. But yeah, if this team's not a playoff team, then there could be some drastic changes that take place, I think.
Must be nice to be in playoff contention, but
well, that's unfortunately a generous characterization through 5 weeks. But I mean, it could be worse. We could be losing ugly, not winning ugly. But we're getting lucky. So
ugly wins.
Exactly. An entire division that has not lived up to the hype, and it's not the AFC West, it's the NFC North. I mean, that division had just a terrible Sunday.
Yeah, did not start off great. Across the pond, the Packers got beat by the NFC Beast, but who wins that division?
I don't know. I mean, Minnesota's sitting there 4-1. I picked them. I still feel good about it, but they're not winning a playoff game. There's no way in hell. I mean,
but then we could also say Green Bay, they're 3-2, and I could still feel comfortable without them winning the division.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're a piece away. I mean, if they get Robbie Anderson, maybe, but
it's just a toss-up with that division.
I mean, the Vikings had that game won. They gave up 19 unanswered to the Bears, who I don't know if they scored 19 in a game that season. I mean, it's just
no. Their quarterback had 15 passes in the first 3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where that Vikings team week 1 went. I mean, their only losses to the Eagles and Philly, which is the most understandable loss in the NFL right now. So I don't know. That's like the least impressive 4-1 team I've ever seen, and the Giants are 4-1. So I mean,
yeah, it's a weird year with how down the NFC North is and how good the NFC East is.
Right. I mean, with exception,
good used loosely.
Right. I mean, they're only division in the NFL with 3 4+ win teams.
That's stupid.
The Commanders are sitting there at 1-4, and Ron Rivera's getting up on a podium and saying we're bad because Wentz sucks. I mean, that's
not wrong.
No, it's not. He tried to walk it back, which I think he was honestly referring to, having a chance to gel. But I mean, Daniel Jones has been there 6 years, and they've been god awful. So I don't know how much time you really need.
Yeah, as much as I like Ron Rivera and what he did for Carolina, that ship might be sailing in Washington.
Yeah, I mean, that's a defense missing Chase Young, but it's not the defense. It's the problem. They can't score. They put up 41 in week 1 on Jacksonville, whose defense has proven to be pretty good. But since then, they just seem like a team you can't count on at all. I mean, this Titans team is another one of those just mysteries that you don't know what you're going to get week in, week out. But, I mean, the pick went through, was it the 2-yard line?
Mm-hmm.
He should have thrown a pick on 1st and goal. And then 3rd and goal, he made an even worse throw on that one. The Titans picked off to end that game. But, I mean, that's just – you can't have that. And, we won a game off that.
He's not a good quarterback.
No, and we'll get to that division later because I can tell you today who's winning that division. And
we can't talk about Washington without mentioning Brian Robinson made a remarkable comeback from getting shot twice in the leg, and he's already back playing NFL football.
He coming out to many men was awesome to see. It's good moment for the fans.
That's a big move.
Took over the backfield 9 carries that led their team, I believe. I mean, that's instant impact. I mean, Antonio Gibson's there, hasn't been the most inspiring early season performance. I know J.D. McKissick's there for third downs too, but it seems like it's already Brian Robinson's backfield to lose. And I think if he gets rolling, then he will not be ceding much to Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, people that kept him, drafted him, they're going to look smart for that. So, yeah, I mean, that pretty much sums up the NFC. Well, I mean, the Eagles are still rolling, so I mean, that's about all you can say.
We're going to find out how good Cooper Rush is this weekend because, he's been doing pretty well winning games, but he's not playing the Rams offense again. He's going to Philly. This is the best team Dallas has played all year. They're probably going to be without Dak. I think you guys both said if they beat the Rams, they're going to roll with them, and I haven't heard anything to the contrary yet. I mean, it's only Tuesday night, but still.
Yeah. He just hasn't done anything to give Dak the job back. I know.
It just shows how easy it is to win the NFL. You don't make mistakes. I mean, the Browns may be undefeated without those late picks. So, I mean, who knows? It's that the margin is that slim sometimes. And I think that, I don't know. I mean, Philly, I won't say escaped. They played reasonably well against Arizona. Got out of there with a field goal, then a miss from. Explain to me how you watch Matt Amendola for the Chiefs lose the game against the Colts, and then you think,
yeah, let's sign him.
We'll have that guy. And then he comes out and he does the exact same damn thing. I mean, to Arizona's credit, they had an O-lineman come up in the media scrum and defend him a bit. I think it's obviously not the kicker's complete fault. They're just put up there when the offense doesn't work half the time. So
and it's easy to pick them, easy to point them out instead of pointing out 11 guys on one side of the ball.
Right. And so, I mean, I do get that, but also in 3 appearances, he's by far the worst kicker in the league this year.
Oh,
I mean, I don't want to put somebody out of a job, but I think he's put himself out of a job to this point. If he's still an Arizona Cardinal today, I don't know why. I mean, that win for Arizona would have been massive.
Mm-hmm. He's putting a hurting on the Amendola name.
Yeah, that too.
The first time I saw him, I was like, is that Danny Amendola's brother? It's not, in case you're wondering.
I bet it's not. Yeah. I mean, that's just, and I mean, another up and down team, our boy Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and the Jaguars lose another one. I think I've been not on the skies falling train, but they're going to come back down to earth, and they're continuing that descent, unfortunately. I mean, this is a team that I think, kind of like Oklahoma, they exceeded expectations early, and everybody really got on that hype train, and the wheels just fell off. So, I think they'll be good. I think they'll still be better than expected, but they're not going to be. I mean, I think what are they +2 in Indianapolis this weekend?
Yeah, something like that.
They were +3 at home, and you're telling me they're a point better than they were 3 weeks ago because they're not.
Yeah.
So I don't. That's what I look at, and I'm confused by. So, like I said, good team, supposed to be bad. They played well. People flipped the script on what to expect from them, and it just didn't continue. So, I don't think that's a whole lot on Jacksonville or Doug Peterson. Already a better coach at Urban Meyer because anything you see about him is on the field. So,
yeah, I mean, he's already won more games too, so that's
right, which is a pretty low bar.
Yeah, so Trevor needs to figure things out. He'll be fine, like we've been saying. So I don't think there's nothing insanely to worry about.
2 or 3 weeks, people are saying, "Oh, they're going to win the division." No,
that was never going to be a thing.
That was never, ever going to happen. That was a pipe dream before week 1. That was just an absolute fairy tale after 3 weeks. And I think that I know Indy and Tennessee have been lackluster, but they're still better teams, and that's just how it is, at least right now.
Yeah, I second that.
Moving on to the night game on Sunday, I was alone in my pick. Actually, I think Jacob had him too. Of the Bengals, I sat here and told you guys the Ravens were not good, and I honestly think I was proven right because Zach Taylor being the stupidest person in America for 40 minutes to get that Justin Tucker game-winning field goal even set up, let alone through the uprights, which I think I saw it was so down the middle. If the field goal posts were half a yard wide, it would have gone in, which is just ridiculous. Hit from 58 earlier in the second half, too. Got the big bag in the offseason. He's lived up to that for sure. At least early on this season, he's first ballot Hall of Famer. Shows no signs of regression at all in any aspect of the game. So
Yeah.
to him. But I mean, not fourth down. Well, it was fourth down, 4th and 2. You go to the shovel pass, like the 10th option on that offense. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. You've got Joe Mixon, you've got Burrow who scored later on the ground. You need 6 feet, and you just throwing out these play calls that the Philly special on first down. You take a sack. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I think they got it back with Jamar Chase, but why are you trying to run that cute stuff? And you need 2 yards in a division game to take a lead. I just don't understand it. I don't know what part of last year made him think that they can just do what they want and the miracles just fall in their laps, because they don't.
See,
it just doesn't work like that.
I'm really starting to feel like Joe would be great quarterback, phenomenal. I think that I've said it a bunch of times. I think it was just they caught lightning in a bottle and got hot at the right time.
I mean, Doug Peterson was out of a job 2 years after the Eagles won the Super Bowl. So I mean,
look at the Falcons.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly.
There's plenty of examples of that it's just right time, right season, right pieces at the right time. So
right, and nothing they do this season is going to take away from that. It just shows you that whatever inclination people had of it happening again is just absolutely just misguided. It's not going to happen again. The O-line is atrocious. I know they brought in 3 new guys to shore it up. They might be worse. Honestly, if you want an O-line rebuild, go look what Kansas City did. Whatever the hell Cincinnati did, all it's going to do is get Joe Burrow killed before his paycheck.
It's getting there.
Coming.
Both are coming. Tuck's coming.
Yeah, I mean, these are 2, I think, good teams. I don't think either one is on the level of Kansas City or Buffalo, or obviously with Tua, Miami. I think those 3 stand alone in the AFC. I mean, I think you put these 2 teams in with the Chargers and maybe the Titans or the Colts, whichever one doesn't look atrocious for a week at a time. I mean, this middle, I guess the Chase group in the AFC is so inconsistent. It's really hard to call them contenders.
I would say there's about 3 tiers to the AFC. There's obviously Bills, Dolphins, Chiefs, like you said, probably Ravens, Bengals, and then the other.
It's just your playoff teams. That's all you're doing is filling up the playoff. I
mean, then the next 3 are the wild card probably.
Right. I mean, I said it last week. The notion that elite is a 10-win team. 10-7 doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
Especially with 17 data points in place now. I mean, if you're a 10-win team, you might miss the playoffs. I mean, that's just, I don't know if that's the best barometer for elite, but I mean, you think of elite teams, you think of them quickly, and there's no ifs or qualifications. I mean, obviously Tua being out.
Coconuts.
Yeah. I mean, Tua being out, obviously that's
Tua being out, and then Bridgewater going out.
Right. I don't know. I mean, they're down to the rookie, Skylar Thompson. So
is either the other 2 in line to play this weekend?
I think Teddy's on IR, is he not?
I hadn't seen.
I didn't either.
I didn't know if Tua is almost back yet or not.
For Tua's sake, I hope not. I don't know who they play. I don't care. I don't think a week is enough to heal whatever he went through. So, but if you had to call it today, who do you think wins the AFC North?
I don't know how to. I'm going Ravens.
I'm going to read you the team I think and who they finished with starting in week 13. All right. At the Texans.
Oh, don't tell me.
Home against the Ravens. Home against the Saints. Go to the Commanders. They finish up in Pittsburgh.
Don't tell me you think once he comes back, they're winning their division.
All they have to do is find a quarterback that doesn't throw a damn interception inside 3 minutes.
That's fair.
They have a loss right now.
I didn't even think about that.
Nick Chubb is the best running back in the NFL right now. Kareem Hunt might be the best RB2 in the NFL. They've got talent at receiver they haven't been using very well because
I take my pick back. I take my pick back. You're starting to.
You think Deshaun Watson's not getting the ball to Amari Cooper 10 times a game as soon as he gets back?
The world might burn if they win the division.
I will mute however many words on Twitter I need to, but I'm telling you, that tail end of that schedule, is soft.
That's true.
I see one loss in those 6 games, maybe. There's 2 division road games in there, so I'm not going to say they're going to roll through it, but I think they win this division. I mean, they're treading water right now, as bad as Brissett's been late. They might have a loss if they have a competent quarterback. I mean, if they have Cooper Rush.
They're going to have to put some wins together before then.
Right. They're going to have to stay about here. But as iffy as Baltimore's look, Cincinnati, who knows what they're going to do?
Yeah.
The Steelers, I don't care. They're not going to contend anyway. I mean,
NFL is based off of just overall record for the divisions, right?
Right. That's the first criteria, yes.
Let's see. And they are currently 2-3. What do they got in before that? Before 13? They are at Ravens.
They'll lose that game.
Versus the Patriots.
That's a win. They beat Detroit. Come on.
I mean, they shut them out.
That's a 5-win team that can
and
score
apparently
sometimes.
Detroit had a good defense, but before then.
No, they've had some guys injured too.
Bengals at the Browns. At Dolphins, at Bills. Buccaneers. Oh, and then the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but I mean, is it bold to say they split those? They go 500 to that point?
It would have to be. They would have to win the first half of it, probably. Yeah, I don't see them winning the back of that.
They're 2, maybe 3 games back in the division, and they rip off 5-1, beating maybe 3 division teams. I mean, that's
true. I see what you're saying.
Path is there. It really.
I think it also depends on if the Ravens start figuring things out. I think the Steelers are going to figure things out. They're far from it. I mean, and then the Bengals, unless they figure.
I'm telling you.
Coastal Chaos
has hit right now. AFC. I laughed at BZ for 25 minutes when we did the AFC preview, but I didn't realize how they would be in every single game, and it would come down to Jacoby Brissett turning the ball over in all 3 losses inside 3 minutes.
Yeah. I hate you for doing that to me.
Right there. I'm telling you.
I hate you for doing that to me.
I'm going to pull this for a clip too. I'll do Panthers firing Rhule, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to pin this, and I'm telling you, if you're into future betting, whatever they're at right now, it's a deal.
Yeah. Damn.
I'm just telling you. I'll look it up right now, but
I doubt Bovada has it.
I'm just telling you. You keep letting them hang a game or 2 back and see what happens when Deshaun Watson comes back. It doesn't have to be Deshaun Watson. 40% of Deshaun Watson is the best Jacoby Brissett's ever been in his life. I mean, it's really what they need from him to be successful as a team is really just not asking a whole lot.
Yeah. Oh, God. You're killing me, Smalls.
All right. You want to guess?
What their odds are?
To win the division right now.
Is it going to be higher than I think I'm of?
It's not quite as high as I would have thought, but it's tempting.
750?
500.
I was going to say that, but that sounded too good.
Yeah, Ravens minus 225, which I think is fair given the win they, I guess, claimed from the jaws of defeat. Yeah. Bengals at 4-1. I think that's hilarious. Browns at 5-1, and the Steelers at 40-1. I'm telling you right now, they're winning the division.
40-1?
Yeah.
It's sprinkled a little bit out on it.
No, unless Najee learns how to run Wildcat and can get some blocking, there's no chance in hell. But I'm just telling you. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
Let them keep hanging around, see what happens.
Yeah. Now we were recording on a Tuesday, so we obviously had Monday Night Football, pretty much wrapping up the NFL week. Screw Travis Kelce, but I love Travis Kelce. That 27 yards and 4 touchdowns, like that's just stupid.
Yeah, good night for TD props, bad night for yardage props. Devontae Adams had 2 TDs as well. So I mean, the Stars had all the points, to say the least.
Yeah, I hit me a nice little over last night. I had over 51. I was sweating there for first half, and then I was like, it's Patrick Mahomes. He's gonna do Patrick Mahomes things.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Raiders-Chiefs has been just a joke lately, but I mean, I think Mahomes a favorite of more than a field goal. It's like 11-21 now since 2020 or something to that accord. So, I realize Derek Carr is terrible. That Raiders team's a joke. They're 1-4. The season's over, but I mean, they fought to give them credit. Josh Jacobs if I had seen that on tape, I wouldn't have given out -7 on the slate show. I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, and again, we just see these elite AFC teams go out and look like garbage against inferior opponents. So it's going to be pretty chaotic, I think, as we approach the 5-week stretch this season.
Yep. So I should have known that the Raiders were not going to stand a chance, and the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. So when picking the division.
But yeah, so it is Tuesday night. We are 2.5 MLB playoff games into the division series, which as an Angels fan, I had to look up every year and see what that means. But it's year 3 as a playoff Braves fan. They came up short today in a rally. Matt Olson went yard, bottom of the 9th, to pull within 1. Could not get anybody else on base, but I think that
I'd blame it on the day game. We have not played well in majority of the day games this year. I think 4:30 might be a little different, but still.
Yeah, I mean 1 o'clock Eastern's tough. So
yeah, I think into like the 4th or 5th inning or something like that, the Braves had 10 full count at bats and didn't get anything out of them. I think Dansby had 3 strikeouts by the 4th inning or something stupid like that. The only run we were able to muster it up for a while was a Travis d'Arnaud homer. Acuna was getting on base left and right, still couldn't muster up anything. So, and then of course the Phillies were just dinking the ball. So that's what you're going to get.
Yeah, I would have thought they were playing the Mets if you took the uniforms away. The way they were just slapping singles everywhere. But
slapping singles, sack flies, sack bunts. Who sees sacks bunts anymore? Like the Braves almost went the whole season without one.
It was Harper trying to bunt too. So I mean,
yeah.
I think they'll be okay. We saw this last year. Lost game 1 of the DS, and that ended up just okay. So
yeah,
they've got good pitching still. Lineup still hits for power. They're going to be fine. But we did miss the wild card round. Are you more surprised by the Cardinals, Rays, or Jays being swept out of the postseason?
The Rays they don't really surprise me. I thought the Jays surprised me getting swept, and the Cardinals. Cardinals' MO this year was the big retirement party. Let's make a final push for the big 3, and then you lose in 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think the wake up call came in game 1. They were up 2-0. Gave up 6 in the 9th, and then you're like, is this how this is going to end for Pujols and Yachty and maybe Wainwright at this point? I mean, it's just I could not believe that, and they come back at home the next day and lose again. So.
Yeah.
It was definitely the Cardinals for me. I was alone in picking them to win the Central. They proved me right, thankfully. I also had the Jays win the
World
Series.
We got to go back through and all that. Forgot about that.
I chose not to because I had Toronto win the World Series. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I had the White Sox. I had the White Sox in the World Series, so there's that.
Yeah, my manager of the year got fired 4 months ago. It's fine. Yeah, so I think just Cardinals, like you said, the retirement tour, all that. The Rays, always dangerous, rarely. I think since Kevin Cash pulled Blake Snell, I think something.
He made his first playoff start, or he's going to be making his first playoffs, or he made it. One of the two. He made his first playoff start either this past week or is about to.
He pitched in the wild card game.
That was the first time since he, for some reason, got pulled by Kevin Cash.
I think he lost. I think he was the losing pitcher in game 2, I believe, of the wild
Might
card
be what
series.
It was. I was getting my days confused. It's been.
It's every day, so it's easy to get lost track of. But yeah, as we sit right now, mentioned the Braves coming up a run short in their postseason opener. We've got the Yankees and Guardians in action right now. 1-1 top of the 5th, and the other final score also one run game. Jordan Alvarez hit a ball 400 billion feet.
That's 430 feet. I tweeted earlier.
Seattle.
That's the furthest home run I've seen since, and then I put the gif of Soler hitting that homer in the World Series, which will be engraved in my memory forever. But that's one guy you don't want up at the plate in the bottom of the 9th.
No, and it was off Robbie Ray.
They pulled their closer for the starter.
They tried. I mean, it's a postseason. We've seen. I mean, Mad Bum pitched 30 innings in a World Series before, so I mean, you do everything you can, but I mean. Robbie Ray comes in, throws 2 pitches, and gives up an absolute nuke.
Yeah, I know Seattle's America's team, but I hate Scott Servants with a passion. I hate his neck. His neck is probably just what pisses me off because, I mean, it's like a... But, I mean, we can't talk about the playoffs without talking about the Mets, baby.
Yeah, like I mentioned,
the biggest choke job in the past 15 years. I mean, the Braves did choke a lot. with that run in the infield fly rule. But that's a different story. You're a 101 win team, and you slip up to a team that was 23 games back of their division winner. So
Yeah, I mean, Padres good team. Mets 101 win team, like you mentioned. Scherzer gets smoked. They win the DeGrom start, but I mean, DeGrom might not be a Met next year.
DeGrom might not be a Met. Trumpet Boy might not be a Met. They're going to lose some pieces.
Yeah. Oh, and they brought out the trumpets for Edwin Diaz.
You can't
down 4. No,
I mean,
you absolutely
I know
can't
you
do
can
that.
play his walk-up song because that's his walk-up song, but you
Right.
can't have their mascot sitting there.
No, and I will say I did see video of Inner Sandman when the Yankees were about to blow 3-0 to Boston reappear on my Twitter timeline. That was incredible at how tone deaf that was.
But you don't have a mascot playing a trumpet.
Well, yeah, no, it's a lot of theater, a lot of show. Wilson Contreras today got some. Was that him? They got that horrible strike 2 call twice.
Yeah.
So tough week for trumpets, but one of them's still playing, one of them's not, and I'm not shocked by who's doing what. So
yeah. Shout out to the Mets. I mentioned it earlier. We just talked about it, but I'm still going to mention it.
Yeah. Check your email, Frank the Tank. We're trying to get to you again.
God, I was watching that stream and he was like, because he accepted so many people on Instagram and stuff to follow him, he was getting DMs left and right, like calls left and right. He almost exploded his phone. He's a character. Like, can't make fun of him all that much, but like.
That's just poor timing, which is pretty indicative of the Mets this season. So, yeah.
So, Guardians advanced on a 15th inning walk-off bomb against the Rays. They're sneaky. They're a sneaky team.
I'm telling you.
J-Ram's a stud. So
I'm texting you guys. I'm telling you that's my upset pick of the DS series is Guardians over the Yankees.
I can see it. And Yankees, LeMahieu's not going to be out, or he's going to be out for just the division. And then they got a reliever that's out. Reliever's out. Chapman didn't show up for a workout, which I don't think he was like they were really actually going to be planning on using him, but
he was in the bubble. Speaking of legendary relievers getting left off, Craig Kimbrell not on the DS roster for the Dodgers.
Talk about a fall from grace.
Yeah, big time.
And another missing piece, Phil Maton for the Astros punched the bench. Yeah.
Knuckle. Yeah.
Punched something.
Yeah, he punched. Yeah, broke his pinky knuckle, and
he did a Huskar Inoa.
Is that who that was? I was trying to remember the name. The Braves got it
last year.
But,
after he had hit like 2 home runs and was being a stud pitcher, and then punched it. His first bad start, he punched the bench and broke his hand out for the season.
You see any upsets in the DS round? I know I've got the Guardians.
That one probably. I kind of want to say the Padres, but.
Yeah, it feels like one of those two.
It feels like it's too good to be true for the Dodgers, but then again, I see both sides of that. I can see a 5-game series, or I can see a sweep either way.
Right. Tonight we get Uris against Clevinger, the pitching matchup. That first pitch is about half an hour from now. But
good God,
I think there's something to be said for the momentum for these wildcard teams coming in, having played.
Yeah.
Coming in. Some of them already have been on the road, and they're coming in to play teams that haven't played in 5-6 days in some cases. So I think
and I think that's what you saw today in Atlanta. Like, Philly came out swinging the bat. I mean, Acuna came out swinging the bat, but that was about it for the offense, really, for the Braves.
Right. I mean, the Philly was a strike away from getting put down in order at the top of the first. They slap 4 singles, and you turn around, it's 2-0. So I mean,
that was unfortunate.
Game 1s are big and best of 5, but again, I've mentioned it with the Braves in the past. They did this last year with San Diego. I think they
Milwaukee
in 4.
Milwaukee. It was Milwaukee. Yeah.
They didn't lose another game in that series. So
5. I think it was 5 because it was either 4 or 5, but we won it off a hater, which was big.
Right, which I mean we've seen him fall from grace too, but not the kiss of death necessarily in game 1, but if you don't win game 2, you're getting closed out at home probably. So or on the road.
I'm not worried. It just wasn't ideal to see that happen.
I mean, the rally they did put together a 9th, I think is a good sign. I mean,
that's what I was telling one of my friends. We were texting back and forth during the game. I'm like, yeah, we our offense is like butter right now, but like any moment we can catch fire, and
We saw
almost
last
brought
year.
it back.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah, Matt Olson, like I said earlier, 3-run shot, went out in the ninth, and unfortunately the Braves couldn't get him outs on base. But they stranded 3 once, 2 another time, and they were getting guys on. Couldn't knock him in just yet. But I suspect a rebound is in order tomorrow for them.
yeah, I think we got. I think Chuck's going. No, we got the MLB leader. I think in wins.
Kyle Wright, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay,
because wins are a statistic everybody follows. But I mean, talk about a guy that's finally put it together. Like me and Jacob were calling for him to get gone in his first 2 or 3 seasons. Like he was doing nothing, and he was a highly touted pitcher out of Vanderbilt, and he's finally putting it together. He had a great season. 21 wins is 21 wins. Like you can't knock that. So we just got to see him put it together in the postseason.
Yeah, I think this is a big spot to do it, down 1-0, and hopefully the home crowd at 4:30 Eastern rather than 1 Eastern can get out. I mean, they were good today, I thought, especially for the stupidity of a matinee first pitch. But
yeah, the only issue with tomorrow is we're going up against Wheeler.
He's so
and
good.
He has our number, and then Nola on Friday. So those 2 dudes are just studs.
Right. I mean, yeah, we saw it with Nola a round ago. I mean,
yeah. So I mean that's pretty. I mean that's a bunch of postseason baseball. We haven't talked baseball in a while, so.
Right. I mean, no reason for me to, but you guys obviously accepted me onto the October bandwagon again. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, a little more to talk about this week. We didn't record last night. I was getting home from Nashville, so snuck in some baseball, snuck in some Monday Night Football.
We missed one thing.
What did we miss?
Our boy got fucking paid.
Oh, yeah. Spencer, give me my money, bitch, Strider. Got his contract, long awaited. It was a question of when, not if, and the answer was yesterday. So,
73 mil?
Yeah. If you don't know him yet, get to know him because in 2026 he will make $20 million. So
shout out to the boy. Hopefully we get him on at some point, but
yeah, one of more meteoric rises as a rookie. Went through the Brave system in a year. Long reliever to start the year. Started 14-3 record, I think. 200 something strikeouts. Just can't say enough about it. One of if not the best rookies in the major leagues this year. I think it'll be him or Harris taking that honor home in the NL.
No if it's going to be one of them too.
Yeah, that award will be with a Brave. The question will be the batter or the pitcher.
We hope pitcher for our sake.
Yes, we do. But yeah, shout out to him. Incredible early start to his Braves career, and he is now locked down with the rest of that young core.
I got one other shout out. Go follow the Compound CC on Twitter. I think it's the compound_CC. It's my family's golf course out here in Lexington. We got our PGI tournament this week. It's our Patty Grant Invitational in memory of my grandmom. So it's our second major. I'll probably be live tweeting results. Try to get some live feed on the Twitter. That, or I'll just be terrible and you don't have to follow my score. But yeah, go follow that for this weekend. Just a quick shout out for that.
Yeah, literally every kind of sport going on this week that will be even better than live golf, more entertaining, less sellouts. It will be a great weekend on the course. We
don't have odds, unfortunately, so I can't bet on anything.
That needs to be fixed immediately.
We got handicaps, but no odds. If we figure that out, then it's game over, and I'll lose all my money.
Yeah, get me live odds and Pat McAfee on a microphone, and that would be a spectacle.
Now you got me talking. Now you got me thinking.
With that being said, I'd say the best for last, obviously. Local guy, Clemson grad, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll be back Thursday with the Slate Show for college and NFL.
So, yeah. Deuces.
Subscribe.